What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the stream. It's Thursday, December 29th, and this is Phoenix coming to you with another video. If you like this content, consider hitting the like button, consider subscribing to my channel. I cover EOS content, overall crypto, macro content, as well as I guess, working towards becoming a full stack developer. So if you have an interest in any of those topics, this channel is for you. And, I greatly appreciate the likes and support, your comments, especially. I read every single comment, believe it or not. And so it has a real special place in my heart, just like the EOS community. So I figured today I do a little bit of a progress update on what things I've been working on this week. It being Thursday, I try to do these videos consistently so I have a cadence. It's something, it's a strategy I've used throughout my life. If you're gonna try to be successful at something, doesn't matter what it is, doesn't matter what people say around you. The key first part, I guess, of being successful, at least from my experience, is being consistent at whatever it is you're doing. And part of that, a big part of it, a prerequisite to that is showing up. So, I talked about in previous videos my perception on players, like, for example, within Block One, who simply just don't exhibit that cadence, right? With maybe their support of a network. So, it's hard to have respect for people if you're just like people aren't consistent, right? And that goes for really anybody in the EOS community, whatever it is you're doing. You got to be in it to win it, and you got to come with the passion. Because if you're just half stepping, it's not you're not gonna we're not gonna be able to get to our goals, right? And so everything I've done, whatever it is, I go all out in whatever it is. So I'm channeling that energy right now into building. That's what I'm doing, and doing these weekly stand-ups for me is a way to make sure I maintain accountability for the duration of this pursuit. So in any event, so what you see on the screen is my application as of right now. Look at the previous video. I did not have the filters in place, so I kind of wanted to walk through those today for those that may also be building, and kind of share some lessons learned. So on the top, you have obviously the filter search bar and the hamburger bars. If you guys remember in the last video, I talked about how, this UX for the drawer, it was just out a little bit way too far. Users who are interacting with this, they probably want to just do one click and have the drawer exit. So I was able to shorten that up a little bit and make sure that this interface is adaptable to different screens. I think I had hard-coded original of the pixels, which isn't really a good design choice, obviously, if you're dealing with different sizes of screens. So I went ahead and went through all my components and basically allocated everything on a percentage basis so it could scale proportion to the screen size. I think that's a really important consideration when designing mobile applications. So you can see the drawer now closes, which is great. And then I have also added my check-in and check-out. This is a modal. At first, I had some challenges with how I wanted this to work. And so I went through a series of, I don't know what you'd call them, but I guess design trade-offs, looking at different options on how to implement this. And I figured one thing I'd share today is actually a solution that I often use when doing different designs. In this case, the interest is more on the, let's see if I can find it here. Oh, let's see. Chrome tab. Here we go. One area that one tool that I often use is something called a scale draw. And what a scale draw allows you to do is it allows you to visualize, your user experience, right? And so you might have an interest in maybe drawing something up, And maybe it's important to sort of view, the interactions or place notes with others who are on your team on how that user experience is going to look. So, I drew up on the left there the start of a filter. I thought for my application, it was going to have such features as a date input, maybe like a toggle for the hourly versus daily, and then I thought I'd add some user amenities on the bottom so that as users are selecting these features, the app would be responsive to what the user wants. Ultimately, it ended up being really clunky. So I had a pivot, and on the right side, you can see what I actually ended up going with, which it seems to be a more simplified version of the solution. It has one box for dates, just overall dates, and another button for filter, amenities filter. And then on the lower part, I actually added, it's a little hard to see in this view, but I added a what I call the high to low sort and an hourly versus daily sort. So that's intended to allow the users to toggle between looking at daily rates versus hourly rates, an average, if you will, because the hourlies could be time of use. So depending on the time that you're using a venue, that um, costs could go up or down. So it'll probably show like from, meaning hinting to the user that you can have it as low as this rate, but it could actually fluctuate throughout the day, if you will. Whereas the daily rate is more of a flat rate. The filters will have various things that you're familiar with Airbnb. So looking at such features as does a venue have Wi-Fi? Does it have maybe a spa? Does it have a sauna? Does it have, it could be any number of things. Does it have a pool? There's been some startups I know that just focus on, like in Phoenix, for example, there was a startup that actually received venture funding, and their whole thing was just pools. So their app focuses on just leasing out pools. What I want to do is just leverage the asset as a whole and be able to take any component of it and bring it to market, right? For consideration, for leasing considerations, and then take advantage of EOS permission and distribution system to actually reward users for curating listings on my application as one incentive metric. So this is kind of just an overall example of how that interface looked. And so if we pivot back to the application, let's go back to the application, stop screen, share screen, and we'll go back to the emulator. Okay, so you can see it's pretty close to what I have cooked up. So if I click on the date tab, what you'll see is you get a modal pop-up box. I think it was the cleanest because, again, screen size is a premium with mobile. I thought about maybe shortening these up so it's not 100% entirely on the screen. So maybe I'll still do that. I did add some logic, if you notice here, to make sure that the user is not able to select like a prior date, which would be invalid. And then also, once they select a date, you can see that the top actually updates. One thing I'll need to do here, you'll notice, is that I'll need to auto update the checkout to at least match the check-in date before this button is clicked so that we don't have invalid data inputs. There's other ways to obviously do this, but I just saw that little potential bug. So if I want to go, for example, and lease a place out or search for a venue where I check in on the 30th, which is tomorrow, Friday, and I can go, 30 days out approximately is what I'm looking at right now for a demo. I mean, obviously, this could go out a lot farther, but again, to limit some of the queries, I figure that might be a good strategy. So if I go all the way there, you can see that now my check-in is the 30th and my checkout is the 13th. Now, what you're seeing right here is some of the available properties. So I can zoom in here. And right now I'm on daily rates. It's showing both on the thumbnails and on the maps. These are daily rates. So I could be looking to pay about $200 per day for a property by the beach. I can also, though, view and potentially try to pivot those into hourly rates for those properties that are available. I did not implement the logic yet to exclude properties that aren't interested in this. In the future updates I'll do, it'll just remove those from the list. But for now, I'm assuming all the properties have that option. So if I go to hourly rates, you can see that it updates the hourly rate here on the card, and it also updates the hourly rates within my map. So I think it works pretty well. I can also sort these by the number of reviews. I can sort them a number of different strategies actually, and I went ahead and surveyed, what commercial apps typically provide for these types of solutions. What I found is that usually there's sorting by high price to low price to high price, typically also by ratings and number of reviews. So let's go through each of them and just see how it works. Obviously, I have a few cards here, some properties in the LA area. So this is just my demo stack. So if I go like from high to low, you can see that it works. These are the properties, the three properties. I have one at 50, one at 20, one at 30. First property shown is 50. And then if you scroll down, you get 30 and then 20. So that seems to work. I can also go low to high. You can test that out, 20 and then 30 and then 50. So that seems to work. I can do by rating. So I have a 4.7 rated property here. Obviously, people like it. It has 500 reviews, but it's going by rating right now. But you can scroll through these, and I have a 4-star at the end there. So 4, 4.5, and then 4.7. So if you want the top rated property, you can go by rating. And then you can do the number of reviews. So sometimes that's important because sometimes people can bias their ratings. So I did add number of reviews, and I have one that is highly reviewed at 500. And then, it tapers off from there on some of these properties. I have one that's with 200 reviews and one at 50. So that seems to work. Now you can also toggle, like I said, the hourly rates. I'll have filters here for amenities, like I just talked about. So that'll be, something I work on probably next. And what that entails is more specificity on, say, the minimum number of rooms that you might want, confirming availability of a kitchen, pool, spa, jacuzzi, whatever it is. It could even be like tags. I thought about also doing tags for certain venues that aren't necessarily residential. So it could be also by specific applications. So that's something I'm going to be maybe looking at next. And this is more the read functionality of this application, obviously. So, now that I'm starting to get most of the stuff down here, I'm going to start working on the creation screens to actually create different record sets within this app for host that are using my platform. So that'll be next in the cards. Getting those uploaded to, I think for now, probably just a database. And I'm trying to still work out the functionality or role of how I want blockchain to play in this, to what extent we want blockchain to play in this, because we don't want to obviously give away all the data on the blockchain with these properties, like where, they're located perhaps, but maybe it's a hash of some kind. And so that's sort of what I'm leaning towards right now, along with the streaming of the rewards, leveraging the blockchain for that as well. So I figured I'd just do an update. That's what I've been up to right now. I just want to review my notes. Yeah, that pretty much is what I've covered today. Next on also on my list is the panning strategy. So you'll notice, like right now, I'm focused obviously on just a particular area within my application, which is on the coast of LA. But eventually, hopefully on the next video, what I want to actually show is that as I pan to different locations, even far from here, the application auto refreshes its records to reflect whatever's in the boundary. And so I have some strategies on how I think I'm going to do that. Just at a high level, what I think I'm going to be doing is maybe a periodic check on the boundaries of the screen that the user is viewing in terms of the map boundaries, sorry. And then taking those parameters and developing an algorithm with the number of records, say within that city. So we'll link that then to a city and run a query. Okay, if I don't have that cached or if I don't have that stored, I'll obviously have to make a call then to the API, but bring those records back and then have the refreshing occur so that as the user interacts like they normally would do with Airbnb, they get the same kind of functionality with the application that I'm building. So that's a little bit about what I'm doing. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'd appreciate any comments or feedback on overall progress. But yeah, it's been a pleasure, and I'd love to hear what you guys are working on. So and if you guys have questions or you're building something and you could use a hand on any of this, let me know. Connect with me. I'd love to interact. That's why I do these videos. It's really a passion. So with that said, this is Phoenix. I'm going to sign off, and I hope y'all are having a great day. So peace.